my loyal and intuitive Cancer friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. There's a hush in the air around you this week, Cancer. Even if the world is moving at its usual pace, you sense a subtle undercurrent, an unspoken pressure quietly humming beneath your daily routines. It's the feeling of being seen for your efforts, yet never quite feeling recognized in the way you crave. Perhaps it's the weight of carrying others' expectations, or the silent promise you've made to yourself to keep going, to keep building, even when you're tired. You might notice yourself fixating on small details, hoping that if you just get it right, the heaviness will lift. But beneath this careful attention, there's a deeper question. When will all your work finally feel enough? In this state, you are the craftsman, the quiet builder, the one who tends to each task with care. The 8 of Pentacles reflects not only your skill, but also the intensity of your focus. You may find yourself pouring energy into perfecting the things that matter to you: work, relationships, even the way you show up for others. There's a certain pride in doing things well, in making improvements no matter how small. But this week, the repetition might feel heavier than usual. You notice the hours passing, the loop of effort, and wonder if anyone else sees the rhythm you keep. There's satisfaction in mastery, but also a tinge of fatigue, as if you're waiting for a break in the pattern. Sometimes you look around and realize you're the only one still at the table, hands busy long after others have left. You're committed, but not immune to longing for something softer, a moment where your effort is simply enough, where you can set your tools down and rest. This drive to do well, to be thorough, is admirable, but it can become isolating. The unspoken tension is not about failing, but about quietly wondering if you're ever allowed to stop proving yourself. You may not say it aloud, but part of you aches for reassurance, from others, from yourself, from the universe, that your steady work is seen and valued. Yet it's this very inner state, your persistent dedication, your willingness to tend to the details, that shapes what happens next. The more you invest in refining your world, the more you notice the subtle ways life asks for more. You sense that each task completed leads to another waiting in line, that each moment of competence carries with it the invitation to show even greater resilience. In this way, the pressure you feel isn't just external. It's the natural tension that arises when care and ambition meet. You may find that the more you give, the more is expected, not always by others, but sometimes by the high standards you hold so close. The path ahead unfolds not as a break from effort, but as a gentle escalation, the feeling that you're being called to show up with both patience and grace, even when you're tired. It's not just about what you do, but how you hold yourself in the midst of what's asked of you. That's when the nature of your journey becomes clearer. The card Strength enters the narrative, not as a demand, but as a quiet momentum building within you. Life doesn't let up simply because you're weary. Instead, it offers you moments to meet your own gentleness in the face of challenge. There may be moments this week when you feel pressure rising, a conversation that tests your boundaries, a responsibility that feels heavier than you expected, a surge of emotion you weren't planning for. The friction is real, but it's not adversarial. Instead, it's a kind of internal negotiation. How do you keep moving forward without hardening your heart? You may notice a subtle tug-of-war between the instinct to just push through and the softer voice within, asking for patience, for kindness, for a little faith in your own ability to weather discomfort. The world might not give you applause for every small act of courage, but there's a quiet dignity in choosing to stay present, to breathe through the pressure rather than bracing against it. The energy around you isn't frantic. It's steady, insistent, and asks you to remember your own capacity to hold tension without letting it consume you. This week, your path isn't about conquering obstacles, but about meeting them with a steady hand, letting your inner strength reveal itself in the way you remain gentle even when you're stretched thin. The test is not in the outcome, but in the process, how you show up for yourself when no one else is watching. From this place, the possibility of growth emerges, not as a guarantee, but as an invitation. The way you meet these pressures, the way you hold yourself through the week, plants the seeds for what comes next. The potential that waits for you isn't passive, it's shaped by the choices you make in the thick of things. If you turn away from the friction, growth remains just out of reach. But when you meet it consciously, with openness and courage, you create the space for something new to unfold. The Seven of Wands appears now, not as a challenge to be feared, but as a gentle reminder that growth often involves standing your ground. There's an invitation here to recognize your own progress, even when it feels contested, by doubt, by circumstance, by the quiet voice that wonders if you're really up for it. This isn't about fighting or proving yourself to others. It's about allowing yourself to occupy your own life fully, to acknowledge that what you've built so far is worth protecting and nurturing. Growth in this context is subtle. It's the shift from questioning your worth to quietly affirming it, even if no one else says a word. It's an inner posture, a quiet, steady insistence that you belong where you are, that your efforts have meaning. The invitation isn't to win or to conquer, but to hold your ground gently, to let yourself feel the discomfort of being seen, of being stretched, and to stay with it, one breath at a time. Looking back over the week's energy, a thread connects all three cards, weaving your story into a single, living fabric. The careful attention and perseverance of the Eight of Pentacles set the tone, grounding you in the reality of your efforts. Strength provides the undercurrent, the quiet assurance that you can withstand what arises, without losing the softness that makes you who you are. The Seven of Wands invites you to trust that your growth is valid, even when it feels uncertain, even when the world doesn't offer easy validation. Together, these energies remind you that your worth isn't measured by relentless productivity, nor by the absence of struggle, but by the way you remain present and compassionate with yourself through both. The tension you feel is a sign of caring deeply, of wanting your life to matter. The path may not be easy, but it is real, and you are moving through it with far more grace than you may realize. By the week's end, you may not have all the answers, but you will have met yourself more fully, and that in its quiet way is enough. Actionable insights for Cancer this week. Let yourself take a longer pause before moving on to the next task. Try speaking up about something small that matters to you today. Notice moments when your effort feels seen, even if only by yourself. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I honor the work I do, even when it feels unseen. I meet challenge with patience and a steady heart. My voice belongs here just as I am. I am enough and I trust my place. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.